This morning I stepped outside into the rain, a brand new pair of shoes straight into the mud. For a moment I was angry, the kind of anger that makes small things feel enormous. But then I remembered a man who once carried an empire and yet found peace in things much heavier than mud. His name was Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome. And I thought to myself, if Marcus lived today with our chaos, our deadlines, our phones, what would he say about a ruined pair of shoes? That simple question led me to something deeper, the real meaning of life. Part 1, when you realize the universe doesn't care. You're not the center of the universe, and that's the best news you'll hear today. Think about it. In the vastness of space, you're standing on a floating rock, 12,740 to 2 kilometers wide, spinning at more than 1,600 kilometers per hour, orbiting a giant fireball 150 million kilometers away. Our Milky Way alone holds over 200 billion stars, and there are about 2 trillion galaxies beyond that. Statistically speaking, you're invisible, and yet here you are, breathing, thinking, feeling. At first, that realization can crush you. It makes you small, insignificant. But stay with it a little longer and something shifts. It frees you. Almost 2,000 years ago, the philosopher king Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He understood what so many of us forget. The moment you accept that the universe doesn't revolve around you, you also accept that you don't have to please it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need permission to live. You are free to create your own purpose right here, right now. Yet look at how many people are trapped by comparison, chasing validation, likes, followers, status. We measure our worth by numbers that won't matter a week after we're gone. But the universe doesn't care about your follower count. It doesn't care about your mistakes either. It simply moves forward. And that's the beauty of it, because you can move forward too. Carl Sagan once said, "The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. You're not separate from the universe. You're part of it. Every cell in your body was forged from atoms born in ancient stars that exploded billions of years ago. You are literally the universe becoming aware of itself for a brief shining moment. So why waste that moment worrying if it cares?" Here's the paradox: nothing matters on a cosmic scale, and that's exactly why everything you choose to do can matter to you. When nothing is written, you get to write the story. So tonight, take 5 minutes. Write down 3 things you can control and let them go. Then write 1 thing you can control and commit to doing it tomorrow. This tiny practice, repeated daily, is how Stoics like Marcus build unshakable peace in a chaotic world. Because when you stop trying to make the universe notice you, you finally start noticing the universe. So breathe. You're not insignificant, you're free. And freedom, as Marcus would say, is the first step to meaning. And in the next part, we'll imagine Marcus Aurelius waking up in 2025 and discover what wisdom he might still offer our noisy, distracted world. Part 2. If Marcus lived in the 21st century. Imagine this. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, wakes up in 2025. The most powerful man of his time, now surrounded by screens, noise notifications, and breaking news. He opens his eyes. The first thing he sees is the marble palace. It's a glowing phone. Headlines screaming, markets crashing, influencers shouting. And yet he smiles. Because 2,000 years later, the world looks different, but human nature hasn't changed at all. Marcus would probably scroll for a moment, then put the phone down, take a deep breath, and write just as he did every morning before dawn. The obstacle is the way. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. Ask yourself, is this within my control? These weren't words written for kings. They were written for humans, for all of us. Because every era has its distractions, every generation its chaos. Ours just comes with Wi-Fi. Today we live in an age of infinite access but limited peace. We can talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime, and yet so many of us can't sit quietly with our own thoughts for even 5 minutes. In 2022, researchers at the University of Virginia found that 67% of people preferred to shock themselves with electricity rather than sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. Marcus would have called that madness. He'd remind us people seek retreats in the country, by the sea, or in the mountains, but the best refuge is within yourself. In a world obsessed with opinions, he would tell us to slow down, to think before reacting, to question our impulses instead of obeying them. He'd probably say, you don't need to respond to every thought that enters your head or every post that enters your feed. Because the truth is, we're drowning in information but starving for wisdom. Marcus' daily practice writing, reflecting journaling, wasn't ancient self-help. It was survival for the soul. He faced wars, disease, betrayal, the chaos of an empire. Yet through it all, he wrote to stay steady. He wrote to stay human. So here's your challenge, one Marcus himself would approve of. For the next 7 days, take 10 minutes each morning. Before you touch your phone, write 3 things. What am I grateful for right now? What's within my control today? And how can I serve even one person before this day ends? This is your modern meditation, a simple way to calm your mind, focus your energy, and remember what truly matters. Because meaning isn't found in the noise, it's found in the silence between distractions. Marcus didn't need a smartphone to be wise, but maybe we need his wisdom more than ever to use ours wisely. The truth is, you can't control the algorithm, but you can control your attention, and your attention directed well becomes your life. In the next part, we'll explore Marcus's 3 timeless pillars of meaning, perception, action, and will, and how they can turn your daily chaos into calm clarity. Part 3, the 3 pillars of a meaningful life. So now you know you can control the universe, but you can control your attention. The question is how Marcus Aurelius gave us the blueprint, 3 timeless principles that still work today: perception, action, and will. Think of them as the Stoic triangle of strength, 3 habits that can turn chaos into calm and fear into focus. The first pillar is perception, how you see the world. Not through emotion, not through fear, but through reason. Marcus wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Modern science agrees. A Harvard study on cognitive reframing found that people who actively reinterpret challenges experience about 30% less stress and better emotional control. That's exactly what the Stoics practiced 2,000 years ago. When traffic jams, criticism, or rejection hit you, pause. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? You'll often realize that the pain doesn't come from the event itself, but from the meaning you've attached to it. Change your perception, and the whole experience changes. Once you see clearly, the next step is action. Do what's right now. No excuses, no delay. Seneca once said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And Marcus followed with waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Action builds confidence. It pulls you out of the storm of overthinking and into the calm of doing. A study from Stanford University showed that even 20 minutes of deliberate action, small focused effort, can reduce anxiety and build long-term motivation. Meaning then isn't an abstract idea, it's a verb. When in doubt, take one small step in the direction of courage. Meaning follows motion. And then comes the third pillar. Will your ability to endure what you cannot change? It's not passive surrender, it's active acceptance. Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Life will throw you loss, failure, and pain, but willpower transforms suffering into strength. Think of a blacksmith. The same fire that melts iron also shapes it. Adversity does the same for us. Every challenge you face is heat for your character, and every trial is an invitation to grow stronger. Each time you feel overwhelmed, try this simple Stoic reset. Ask yourself 3 questions. Is this fact or feeling? What's one useful action I can take right now? And can I accept the rest? 3 minutes, 3 questions, 1 mindset shift. Practice this daily and you'll start to move through life with calm precision instead of reaction and chaos. Because Marcus believed that a good life isn't built in decades, it's built in moments of awareness. See clearly, do rightly, endure willingly. Those 3 things are enough to build a life that stands firm when the world shakes. In the next part, we'll explore how the Stoics practice these principles every single day and how you can too. Part 4, how Stoics practiced a meaning. Everyday wisdom means nothing if you can't live it. And Marcus Aurelius knew that better than anyone. He didn't just write about philosophy, he practiced it. Every single day. Even while leading an empire through war and plague, he still found time each morning and night to train his mind. If Marcus could do it surrounded by chaos, then surely we can do it surrounded by notifications. Every morning, Marcus opened his journal, what we now call meditations, and wrote short reflections to prepare his soul for the day ahead. He didn't write for others. He wrote to remember. He'd remind himself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, envy, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of good and evil. That wasn't negativity, it was preparation. Marcus was inoculating his mind. He knew he couldn't control other people, only how he met them. Modern psychology calls this mental rehearsal, a method that helps athletes, soldiers, and leaders stay calm under pressure. A 2018 study from Harvard Medical School found that just 10 minutes of daily reflection significantly improves emotional resilience. So each morning you can try something similar. Write 5 simple lines: what's within my control today? What isn't, and ill let it be. One person I can help. One skill ill improve. And one virtue ill protect, justice, courage, temperance, or wisdom. That's your Stoic warm-up for life. As the day unfolds, life will test you. The traffic, the criticism, the delays. But Stoics saw these not as punishments, but as workouts for the soul. Marcus once said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Instead of asking, why me, ask, what virtue is this training? Delay trains patience. Criticism trains humility. Uncertainty trains courage. When you see challenges as teachers every day, becomes a classroom for meaning. And when night comes, Marcus returned to his journal. He'd ask himself, when the light has gone out and you're about to sleep, where did I act with character? Where did I fall short? What could I improve tomorrow? This nightly review turned experience into wisdom. Seneca called it examining your soul before bed. And modern neuroscience agrees reflection strengthens the brain's prefrontal cortex, improving emotional regulation and learning retention. For 7 days, try living like Marcus. In the morning, write your intentions. During the day, turn obstacles into lessons. And at night, reflect and recalibrate. Do this long enough and your days begin to take shape, solid, calm, quietly meaningful. You'll stop reacting to life and start responding with purpose. The Stoics never sought perfection. They sought progress one mindful day at a time. As Marcus said, waste no more time arguing what a good person should be one. In the next part, we'll look beyond ourselves and explore what the Stoics believed we owe to the future, to the people who will inherit the world after us. Part 5, what we owe the future. Marcus Aurelius lived through chaos, wars, betrayal, and a deadly plague that wiped out millions. And yet, even in those darkest days, he wrote about kindness. He wrote about duty. He wrote about being useful to others. Why? Because Marcus knew something we often forget. You can't control centuries and you can't control tomorrow, but you can still leave fingerprints on the present. In one lifetime, his empire rose and fell. But his words, simple reflections written in solitude, have survived for 2,000 years. Why? Because kindness and wisdom compound over time like interest on the soul. Seneca once said, no one is born for himself alone. We live in a culture obsessed with personal success, fame, money, followers. But the Stoics saw success differently. To them, virtue was the only wealth worth keeping, and now modern science agrees. A 2021 Harvard study found that people who consistently contribute to others through mentoring, volunteering, or small acts of kindness report significantly higher life satisfaction and lower levels of depression. Helping others doesn't just make life better for them. It makes life better for you. You don't have to change the whole world. You just have to change your corner of it. Plant one seed, an idea, a gesture, a kindness, and let time multiply it, because that's how legacies grow. Marcus once wrote, all that you see will soon perish. Think of how many before you have already gone. Yet you can still act with justice, self-control, and love. That's what legacy really means. Not fame, not monuments, but usefulness. We tend to think legacy means leaving something behind. But the Stoics would say legacy is leaving something within, in the minds, hearts, and habits of others. If you make one person's burden lighter, if you speak one word that brings someone peace, you've already left your mark on eternity. Because meaning isn't measured in monuments. It's measured in moments, the small, invisible kindnesses that ripple forward long after you're gone. So tonight, try a simple reflection. Ask yourself 3 questions. Who benefited from my presence today? What did I build, repair, or teach even in a small way? And how can I make one person's day easier tomorrow? Do this for 7 days and you'll start to notice a shift. You'll begin to focus less on what you lack and more on what you give. Because when you live for something larger than yourself, you stop fearing how long you'll last and start caring about how deeply you'll matter. Marcus knew he couldn't control history, but he could shape humanity. And so can you. Build something that helps others. Repair more than you replace. Share what you learn. Leave people calmer than you found them. The universe may not care, but people do. And meaning, real lasting meaning, lives in people. In the next part, we'll return to where this story began, with something small, ordinary, and dirty, a pair of muddy shoes, and a lesson hidden inside. Part 6. The muddy shoes again. Remember how this story began with muddy shoes? Let's go back there for a moment. A small, ordinary thing. You buy new shoes, step outside, and within seconds splash their ruin. For most of us, that's a bad day. But for Marcus Aurelius, it would have been a lesson. He would have said, it's not things themselves that trouble us, but our judgments about them. Life doesn't always break in big dramatic ways. Sometimes it just pokes you a rude comment, a delayed email, a plan that falls apart. We think it's the world testing us, but really it's life giving us a chance to practice. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering reaction. Marcus would look at those muddy shoes and think, here's my training for patience. Every stain, every mistake, every disappointment is an invitation to grow. Because every moment gives you a choice to complain or to cultivate. Modern psychology calls this cognitive reframing, the ability to see stress differently. Studies from Stanford University show that people who reframe setbacks as opportunities for learning experience lower cortisol levels and greater motivation over time. In other words, your body literally calms down when your mind chooses meaning over misery. Marcus practiced this every day, not with meditation apps or mood journals, but with simple awareness. Every event was feedback. Every inconvenience information. He didn't ask, why me? He asked, what is this teaching me? When you start to live with that mindset, the world stops being against you. It starts working for you. Traffic teaches patience. Failure teaches resilience. Criticism teaches humility. And mud, it teaches presence. Because the universe isn't unfair, it's impartial. It's not punishing you. It's preparing you. It's your classroom, not your enemy. So next time life throws something unpleasant your way, try whispering to yourself, this too is training. Here's a simple practice to make that real. When something annoys you today, a spill, a delay, a rejection, pause, and name the virtue it's training. Say it out loud. This is patience. This is courage. This is humility. Then take one slow, deep breath. That's Stoicism in motion, not in books, not in theory, but alive in you. My shoes are still dirty, but my day isn't. That stain became a reminder that meaning doesn't wait for big moments. It hides in the small ones. The tiny, ordinary tests that invite you to respond with grace instead of anger. If the universe won't tell you why you're here, be the one who decides. See clearly, act rightly, hold your peace, that's it. That's the path to meaning. And in the final part, bring everything together and uncover why meaning isn't something you find. It's something you live. Part 7, meaning isn't found, it's lived. You've looked for meaning your whole life. In success, in love, in work, in the stars. But what if meaning was never something to find, only something to live? We keep waiting for clarity, a moment when the sky opens, the music swells, and life finally makes sense. But that moment never comes, because meaning doesn't arrive like lightning. It grows like a tree, quietly, slowly through the way you live each day. Marcus Aurelius never found his purpose. He created it. Every morning when he wrote, every time he chose patience over anger, duty, over comfort, integrity, over convenience, he built meaning one choice at a time. He once wrote, do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. That's it. That's meaning right there in the doing. Modern psychology says the same. A 2020 Yale study found that people who live with purpose, not in grand abstract ways, but through small, intentional actions, report higher life satisfaction and even live longer by an average of 7 years. Not because they have all the answers, but because they live in alignment. Their thoughts, words, and actions point in the same direction. Purpose isn't cosmic. It's consistent. It's how you show up when no one's watching. It's the tone in your voice when you speak to someone who's tired. It's the choice to build instead of destroy, to repair instead of replace, to forgive when you could walk away. Meaning isn't discovered. It's designed. So how do you start? Don't chase the grand mission. Begin with the next kind act. Seneca said, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. So treat today as a full life. Be honest in your words. Be kind in your thoughts. Be useful in your work. That's enough. Because when you stack days of intention, you build a lifetime of meaning. The truth is, the universe will end someday. The stars will go dark. The galaxies will fade. But that doesn't make your kindness meaningless. It makes it miraculous. Out of 14 billion years of cosmic silence, you get this one brief moment to think, to love, to help, to create. That's not nothing. That's everything. So don't wait to find meaning. Live it. One kind thought, one fair decision, one brave conversation, one temperate choice. Stack enough of those and even time itself can't erase their shape. Because meaning isn't found, it's lived. And every moment, every single one is your chance to live it. So begin again right here. Write your 5 lines. Help one person. Improve your craft by one small step. Protect one virtue like a flame in the wind. The world may not applaud, but your character will know. And when the rain falls and your plans fall apart, remember what Marcus taught. The obstacle is the way. If this gave you even one calm breath, subscribe to Making Life Better. Comment below, which virtue will you train today? And how share this with someone who's caring too much. Every week, we'll be here practicing the same simple truth. See clearly, act rightly, endure willingly. That's enough. That's meaning the Stoic way.